what became so evident to us in that session was he's not ready to talk peace at all. But here's the problem. Time is not on his side. The American people's patience is not unlimited. Their wallets are not unlimited. And our stockpiles and munitions are not unlimited. The president campaigned on ending this war. He was elected to end this war. He will be the peacemaker in chief. This was no ambush. This was an opportunity and a moment.
Michael Waltz, last hour with Dana and me here. U.S. relations with Ukraine entering uncharted territory now as President Trump gets ready to address a joint session of Congress tomorrow night. Negotiations sure to come up. Retired four-star General Jack Keane, Fox News senior strategic analyst. And General, good morning to you. Been looking forward to talking to you all week, General. 2 weeks ago in our program, you said the reason why the U.S. met with Russia in Saudi Arabia without the Ukrainians and the Europeans is because you have to talk face-to-face with Putin to find out if he's serious about pursuing peace. And you can't do that on the phone, and that's why you travel to Saudi Arabia. I've been using that as my lodestar as I try and work through this story. Now, here's what we got from Sunday. The UK, we want boots on the ground, planes in the air. From France, we want to get a one-month truce. From the head of the EU, we want to rearm Europe. All right, words for now, General, but back to the issue of Putin, okay? Then we'll get to Zelensky next. Here's Marco Rubio on ABC regarding Putin.
The only way it ends is if Vladimir Putin comes to a negotiating table. And right now, President Trump is the only person on earth who has any chance whatsoever of bringing him to a table to see what it is he would be willing to end the war on. Now, maybe their claims or what they want, their demands will be unreasonable. We don't know, but we have to bring him to the table. You're not going to bring him to the table if you're calling him names, if you're being antagonistic.
There you go. That's the setup, General. Where are we? What do our viewers need to understand?
Well, I think on Putin and an eventual peace deal, the jury's still out. We've had the second meeting, on the 28th, when the deputies met in Istanbul, Turkey. And I think, the Secretary of State, Rubio, after getting debriefed on what took place there, they're not convinced that Putin is ready to come to the table and make serious compromises. Right now, they're taking a hardline approach. Now, that is the approach they take initially in most of their negotiations. So I think we got to wait and see what takes place with Mr. Putin, and is he really willing to compromise. And when it comes to Ukraine, I do believe, even though publicly all the European leaders are obviously supporting Zelensky, but privately they're telling, make amends, reconcile with President Trump, sign the deal. It really is a significant step on the road to an eventual ceasefire and possibly a negotiated settlement. So I think hopefully that's what Zelensky takes that counsel and moves in that direction, so we can get on with testing the waters with Mr. Putin. Okay. Is he really up to this or not? Okay,
fair enough. Here is Waltz now. Dana asked him whether or not Zelensky will be around. Watch.
If there is a deal that's signed, a minerals deal, does President Trump believe it will actually be with Zelensky or another leader?
I think what happened Friday really put that up in the air. Is Zelensky ready, personally, politically, to move his country towards an end to the fighting? And can he and will he make the compromises necessary? And you heard the president. Both sides are going to have to make compromises. Does both sides have the will to sit down and drive this towards peace? That's President Trump's objective. That's what he was elected to do, and that's what we're ready to do and trying to do right now.
Okay, so the question I had lined up, you kind of answered it a moment ago. Do you think Zelensky signs that mineral deal and enables all sides to take the next step?
Yeah, I think he does, because it's clearly in Ukraine's interest. It's so obvious. It connects Ukraine to the United States for a generation. And it's obviously economic and financial first. But if you connect it, it's also political. And while not stated in the deal, and Zelensky would have preferred to have some security guarantee stated in the deal, they're also certainly implied in the deal that if you have that kind of a connection, you're invested in the country, you're going to protect your investment. So security implications are really there. And I think, as President Trump has told Zelensky time and time again, I don't want to foreclose my hand by making security guarantees prior to my negotiation with Putin. Once I get a deal, the security guarantees, if you recall this, are a lot easier. And, Bill, the headline coming out of that presser in the Oval Office would have been, if Zelensky didn't make it into an epitaph in challenging and exposing his grievances to an international press audience. We know now that was his motivation. But the headline would have been when President Trump said, you know, British and French troops are going to be on the ground after a peace agreement as peacekeepers, and we conceivably could as well. That is what he said. That would have been the headline, because that is a major departure from what he said before, no boots on the ground after there's a peace agreement by the United States. So there's a lot of options on the table that Mr. Trump has, certainly, once a peace agreement is signed. And what do we need to really do to make certain that Putin doesn't reattack again?
Fair enough.
And that will be decided later.
General, thank you so much. Let's speak again later in the week. Jack Keane, thanks.
Yeah, great talking to you.
You too, Dana.